What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm here with JP. We're at Star Wars CCG graded update for February of 2026. JP, welcome back.
Thank you, Kyle.
Let's
Glad
get
to be back.
kicking things off as usual and as always. We've been doing this now for many years. The contest category, right? So, our contest for January was peaceful non-combat characters, right? As best as we could kind of come up with, right? Am I right? So this wasn't like a super popular uh, contest. Maybe people had other things on their mind. Maybe they're busy freezing their butts off, or maybe they just didn't have many peaceful characters. Maybe people are grading everything violent, aggressive, military.
Yeah, good point. There was actually a comment in there that they went through. Somebody posted they went through all their cards, and every single card had something to do with conflict. It was all ships, mains, and main characters. So I can see that. Yeah, there weren't very many people that just look for non-conflict characters and grade them.
Yeah, and I think this contest kind of draws into those like, hey, did you consider what you have, what you don't have, or what you could have, or where you could go? Certainly different avenues for collecting. Everyone's got their own path, and that's fine. But if you're looking for something interesting to pursue, maybe it would be every single planet card. I don't know. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So our low ball hero, of course, JP, you submitted for low ball, but that is nowhere near low. It's just a participation
I know it was
check.
close.
Yeah, real close. Paul Hubbard ran away with the PSA 6 Lobot foil and PSA 5 Ted Dahi. I'm not.
Everybody pronounces it different, but yeah.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's low and it wins. And Paul, you will be walking away with a Mon Calamari from Death Star 2 slab. So congrats on that. Unique, let me throw it back to you, JP.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you did because Unique is near and dear to my heart this month. The Unique winner goes to Jeremy Christoffel. Did a great job with, of course, PSA 9 Dice Ibagon and PSA 9 Brainiac. Both cool cards. Why it's near and dear to me is that I'm always heavy duty in the premiere and the first few expansion sets. So seeing those graded, seeing those submitted for the competitions was pretty cool. And so it was a great submission. They're super unique. You don't get to see those very often. And for your prize, you get Planet Gaul.
Planet Gaul slab from Death Star 2. You can't really see it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So congrats on that. And then our top, we had two submissions, both in 10s. But ultimately, based on the spirit of this competition, I think, and just the general oddity of this as well, Jonathan Salter with the PSA 10 Droopy McCool and PSA 10 Jess from Jabba's Palace, which in my luck, I have had terrible luck grading Jabba's Palace cards. They generally 8s and 9s range. Very rare to see the 10s from that set. Maybe just because not as many people are grading those. I'm not sure. I mean, I know Princess Leia, right, and Jabba and R2. Those get graded pretty frequently, but the other cards of that set, not as much. I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, agreed. It was still one of those expansion sets that was very low on quality control. So, yeah, not many people. I mean, there's how many tons and tons of characters that are part of that set, but people aren't just rushing out to get them all graded unless you're going to do the whole set. And I'm trying to think, is there like, was Brian one of the guys that was going to do the whole set of Jabba's Palace, I think, at one point? But
I don't know, between Brian and Robert John trying to do all the sets, all the things, I don't know. It's kind of wild. But you know what? Based on the abundance of product for Jabba's Palace, I mean, you could easily get an all 9 and 10, graded set from that because you'd have so much product to go through and a lot of chances and opportunities to do it. Wow. Yep. So somebody could strike while the iron's hot. Go through it all.
And that's true. And that brings up a topic of conversation for maybe something in the group. Is there anybody that's putting some type of collection together that's all 10s? I had to come up early on that I just have to do 9s and higher because it's impossible to do a whole set 10s, but you're working on a all 10 set. Wasn't it Japanese too? That's rough.
Japanese premiere, yeah. But I have to say I have over a quarter of them of the set is in 10.
Wow.
I don't know the exact number, but I'm getting a return back today from UPS of another 20 cards. So I think I'm netting another 10 new cards and upgraded 2 of them. And then I'll have some for sale or for trade. Maybe that's good for the trading post conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, if I have the opportunity to try and keep going for a 10, I think I will try keep going. But some of these cards I just don't come across very often. So either someone will grade it and I'll have to buy it, or I might just have to live with it unless I can see it. I mean, there's only so much, right? But something like Jabba's Palace or A New Hope, or even Premiere, like Unlimited, like it's a huge set, right? Like it's a massive set, so that automatically makes it a little bit more difficult. But Jabba's Palace is not a large set, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, A New Hope is also not a big set.
180, I think, wasn't it 180?
180, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's like half the size, right? Which sounds like a lot of cards, but like given the amount of cards I've graded, like that, I would be done by now easily, and then some. So yeah, something to think about. Something I'm very curious to see what people come up with. I think there's people in the shadows that are quietly accumulating some of these because the registry sets don't exist for all these sets. Obviously, we've submitted requests for these sets. I'm optimistic that based on the timeline, like having submitted for new sets like last fall, maybe we'll see them in the summer because they take about a year to get a response back. I don't know why, but I'm really optimistic that we'll get a few sets. I put in for like a few enhanced sets, the premiere set, like some of the other alternate sets. I'm trying to think what else I submitted for, but it was like a few more. And I know you've done that too, right?
Yeah, I've done it on a regular basis, and I was like repeating myself. So I'm just like copy and pasting most times. So, but some show up and some they don't. But for the most part, they've really covered quite a bit of sets to add to the registry.
Yeah, they're always adding new stuff. So I haven't lost complete faith yet. It is just a little frustrating. It seems like everything's taking a little bit longer with PSA, and we've kind of lost the benefit of getting any sales. So I'm not as enthusiastic to start a new set, but the sets I'm already working on or already have, I am optimistic about.
Gotcha. And the suspense, we're still holding on for what Jonathan's prize is.
He will be Jonathan's amazing prize will be Squadron Assignments. You can't really see it. PSA.
Awesome.
So I will send that to the following individuals for their winners. Congrats, guys.
Good job, guys.
Next, so for February, we have Japanese foils. March will be Japanese non-foils, right? April will be non-character cards, so no characters related.
Yeah, in any of the pictures.
So droid, alien, people, human, military, Jedi.
No characters.
No characters. So hopefully that opens up a little bit more. We've kind of did some more nuanced topics in the past, and not many people had these cards graded. So hopefully that kind of opens things up a lot more. In May, stay tuned. Obviously, that's May the 4th and all that Star Wars excitement. So we'll probably do something a little bit bigger for that. So stay tuned. For
sure.
Let's jump into group updates. So what's going on around the horn, JP?
Yeah, you got it. Just a few points. Group growth is still doing great. People go in and they answer the rules and the questions properly, so they get right in, and I watch the growth. But there's been more and more people where I guess they've been skipping the questions, and I've been approving 4 and 5 at a time. So the group is growing pretty rapidly, and it's at a good pace. And so real happy with the community right now. There's not a lot of people leaving, and everybody's just hanging out, see what's going on, and enjoying the community. That's great. Also, we've created a trading post, an exclusive featured chat where if you're interested in some of the stuff that you're wanting to trade, you're not sure you're going to get good value for a sale, it's stuff you've been hanging on to, and you're looking for an outlet, a way to maybe get more product, you might just go out there and throw your cards out on the trading post, see what you can get done. It's pretty easy to do, just like any other chat. Or just cruise it, see if there's stuff that other people are posting out there for trading, and see if there's anything you're interested in. So that's going to be out there for a while. Let's see. I do want to bring up that there has been some riffraff over the past month. It's been a while. It's been months and months since we had interesting riffraff. I'm going to get your take on it, because it went right through the admins and the group experts. So we had lots of conversation about it. But we did have to ban somebody from the group. It's kind of a rare occasion. But there were other members reaching out, wondering what we're going to do about the situation, about the member, and kind of some of the dealings. And so it was immediately addressed. It was banned. There's a lot of scamming going on, but that's how close we monitor it. Not only do we hear it from you, the community, but us group experts and admins, we talk about every little thing that happens in the group. So we addressed it. If you see any more stuff that looks scammy to you, please reach out to a group expert, reach out to me and the admins, and we'll go ahead and of course, take a look at it. We want to keep this a fun, safe place. So if you see something funny, if we don't catch it first, just bring it to our attention and we'll take care of it. There are a few card shows that's in the area for me personally, being in central United States in Springfield, Missouri. There's going to be a couple card shows in the Springfield area for the month of February. I'm probably going to hit them and check it out and see what they're all about. I know one is kind of a perpetual yearly card show, and they do have gaming cards there. So I'm going to kind of watch it. And then and the other one, I might even see if I can get a table and represent Star Wars again. I've done that like 4 or 5 times now, and it's been pretty fun. So that kind of segues into the grading specials for the month and why we monitor. It's like we shouldn't even address it anymore until they actually make a change to PSA. But CGC is really starting to pick up on our grading. I'm seeing more and more, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit about what you think about the CGC volumes and grading going up.
Yeah, well, 2 things. One, bringing up to your early thing before I jump into that, the card shows. I vended at the big show this past weekend. It's primarily Pokemon. There's some One Piece and Magic and stuff. I did bring some Star Wars cards just to kind of like put out there, but hard to gauge, what I don't know. I don't know if people go necessarily to these shows anticipating to see it there. So it could be one of those things where it's just not part of the plan if they are there. But collectors tend to mix into different things, so you never know, right? All you need is that one person who's like, oh wow, you have that. And I certainly had that in other items, whereas somebody was interested in something that I thought was like, this is either going to take forever to sell, or like you'd have to find a unicorn. But sometimes that stuff comes through. In terms of CGC, and maybe this even segues into CGC, I do sell a lot of, I offer a lot of CGC slabs. I do have Beckett slabs. I have tag slabs. I have PSA slabs. I even have some AGS slabs and some other slabs from other stuff. And CGC is not going away. CGC is not a fad. CGC is part of like the PCGS and the comic book grading. They are well established. They've been around for a long time. They have a lot of professionals. This is not like a phase. Like, they're here to stay, 1. And 2, you cannot ignore the fact that they are a very clear second place to PSA when it comes into non-sport grading submissions. That has been loud and clear and coming forth, which tells us people are looking for an alternative to PSA. In terms of the slabs themselves, they're good slabs. They're hardy. They're not too different and strange from the PSA slabs, or they're not square like the Beckett ones, but they have a good They're firm. I like the pristine labels a lot. The regular labels are okay, but I still think they're better looking than the PSA slabs, to be perfectly honest. They are a stronger slab than those. In terms of like the way people feel about it, I think everyone gets a little defensive on PSA, and in my mind, I'm not really that biased on it. Like, I actually embrace having the different grading companies because I think that's beneficial to all. When we have SGC and now Beckett is under the thumb of PSA, and they're in charge of now grading, inventorying, selling, like they're just trying to monopolize this whole market. Like, that's not a good thing. Like, we shouldn't be really rooting for that. Like, we want the separation of this stuff and we want the diversity because that keeps prices down. All this competition being swallowed up by the one whale, as we see with everything else, right? It's nothing but Walmart and Amazon, like just steamrolling over everything else. It's really hard to make an inroad, and guess what? Everything's more expensive, So it's one of those things where I don't know if it has the value capture, right? Because I do believe that the people that generally pick up the CGC slabs might be leaning more towards the like grading it to keeping it rather than using it like a commodity. Like, PSA is seen as much more of a commodity. Now, to their credit, they're embedded in eBay and they're embedded in different apps, and you can take pictures of them and they'll give you PSA thing, right? Like, PSA's done a good job of infiltrating itself into a lot of corners within trading and collectibles across the major, card collecting worlds, let's say, right? So they're everywhere. Now, if we could get other graded companies or be recognized in there, I think that would chip away at that. I don't know what that takes. I don't know if there's big money involved in terms of monopolizing themselves on some of these apps and platforms and websites where you can track raw prices and PSA and see like the registry of population charts and all that stuff. All that stuff works to PSA's advantage big time, right? But, companies even like Tag are sneaking up because they're using this AI stuff. The slabs are really nice. They're giving that transparency that collectors are like crying and screaming for, that I want to know why I got this grade, like, just give it to us. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pay $300 to see PSA's grading notes to why they graded my card that way. Like, that's insane when, for Tag, you can just see it, right away. Or with the other companies, with Beckett, you can see the subgrades, like, give us rationale for the subgrades. So I just, I'm very curious to see why seeing CGC popping up here. Now, we haven't realized gains for this, but I think it depends on collecting goals. And now that it hasn't been around as much as some of these other grading companies from when we started getting really into the graded Star Wars CCG stuff. Now, if they were around when we all first started getting into this stuff, which, let's be realistic, has only been the last like few years, seriously, right? Like the last 5-6 years, more or less, right? If it was there and it was like as prominent as everything else, would people have started collections just in CGC, like starting out there?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I already started in this slab and I don't want to mix and match. Personally, I don't really care. I'm not that anal about it. Like, I have 3-4 different companies on my wall and I think they all look great. I actually prefer the diversity for different reasons, right? For different purposes. And some things aren't worth grading. So there's always that. So I understand to some degree, but I'm an open book. I'm an open mind to this sort of stuff. And I think it's healthy for the hobby as a whole. So those are my 2 cents.
Gotcha. And you're a true collector too, like most people. You're just not in it to flip it. But I'll tell you one major point that I'd like to make about CGC is that I have never heard anybody complain about their grading standards. I hear people complain all the time about SGC and PSA. PSA is like the worst for people complaining about. I've never heard one complain about CGC, and maybe because there probably hasn't been a lot of volume at this point, but they seem to do a very clean job. They do a good job with their grading service. And so, and you brought up Tag too, and I just read an article just a couple days ago that Tag is trying to introduce a kiosk in the stores. They're manufacturing some type of some kind of kiosk where you just can bring your cards in, get them assessed, and they'll give you like a pre-grade. From what I understand, this card will be a 10, this one will be a 7, and you get to decide which ones you want to get graded. Now, the machine will charge you for the assessment like $1 or $2, but if you get the card encapsulated and graded right there on the spot, you have to pay for their grading service. So it's a great idea, and it seems like they're going to get it figured out real soon. You don't have to worry about ship times. You're standing right there, watch the whole encapsulation process right in front of you. So
frankly, that's like the coolest thing ever. Like making it less of this, like send it off to some super warehouse where there's just like an army of people, to go through it and this over processing thing. I mean, can you imagine, like, you could bring a stack of cards, like you're trying to complete a set and you're like, okay, I'm just going to go put a whole bunch of these things in. I'll pay $50, but I'll know where all 50 of these cards stand. I'm going to actually end up grading maybe only 30 of these, right? Now I feel like I know what I'm getting and I'm happy to pay what I know. No surprise, right? I think you're going to get happier clientele that way. If you get something and you're like, ooh, that's a 6, like, you know what, I'm not going to bother with that. You're probably only going to have higher quality stuff through there. Really interesting ideas challenging that. I think that will be popular in some circles. From talking to other collectors, like here and there, Tag is still somewhat kind of new, but there is a lot of optimism, curiosity, and the people that are bought into it are like very gung-ho about it. And they're very curious to see where this goes. Like to what you said, bringing it to stores and stuff like that. But circling back to the CGC thing, I mean, the turnaround times have been pretty good. To your right, I have not heard about grading. They might be upset of the grade they got, but not necessarily like, oh, they're so wrong about this. I have also not heard anything about that. So I'm an open book to it. Perhaps if I wanted to start a new set of maybe something different, like I still want to submit for like all the sealed tournament stuff, sealed decks and stuff. I'd like to get like a graded set of that. Maybe that's something I might entertain doing in CGC. I don't know. I haven't put all my thought into that yet, but anyways. So there was a couple other things we wanted to cover here. Speaking of the AI stuff, I did download Cardly AI, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. There's a few apps out there, but this one that seemed to be more recognized than most. And essentially, you can use this app to scan the card, and it will, based on PSA grading standards, so it says, it will tell you the composition, the surface, the corners, edges, and give you kind of its feedback on each, and then an overall grade score of what it believes it would grade. Now, I've started doing this with some Star Wars CCG cards because I was really curious to see, okay, I'm going to go through some Japanese cards. Let's see what's what. Now, I don't have any that I've scanned, submitted, and gotten back now. That's going to take months because we got the app like a month ago. So I've just been toying with it, and then I've also toyed it with like maybe more modern cards to see like if there's some difference to it. I think it's a little conservative. Most of the things I scan through my Japanese Premiere say they're like an 8, like there's some elements of 9, some elements of 7, back and forth. I haven't gotten anything that says like this is a straight up 10, but I'm hoping that it is coming from a more maybe modern perspective in terms of like how critical it is on the quality of the card. So I'm thinking when it's scanning and telling me like it's an 8, because I've done at least 20, 30 different Japanese Premiere cards, not getting anything over an 8. I'm like, well, some of these would definitely be like 9s. I think they're like a grade conservative. But if I do get something that's like, this is a 6 and here's why, it's like, okay, well, this is not a card I'm going to submit because it's already not going to be a 9 or 10 for whatever it's picked up. And I know it scans through, like it does some sort of like infrared read where it can see through the card of any imperfections, something that we can't see. So
Crazy
scan. Yeah. So very interesting. I'm very curious to see where that goes. I'd also be curious to know if anybody else has downloaded any of these types app, either Cardly or a similar one, and had some experience with it. I don't even know if you've seen it. I think I came across some of these on my Instagram feed as I was scrolling through different people's pictures of cool card hits they've gotten. And like inevitably I get some ad, of course, to buy something, but I was like, you know what, this is kind of worth testing out and trying, because I think this is kind of where the hobby might evolve to a point where we might have like machines or readers where we can just kind of put in a whole bunch of cards and just gives us grades. I mean, can you imagine like AI working for us like on that kind of level? That would be amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've just evolved into that sort of collector. In the beginning, it just relied on us doing the inspections ourselves, jeweler's eye pieces, and squaring them up to make sure they're centered. That's so antiquated that the way you can get applications to do that for you. Heck, my son, he uses a microscope now. He looks for dimples in cards. Yeah. So
is he doing sports modern though?
He's doing, mostly sports modern or anything that doesn't have a cloth feel to it, because he can clean them up. He also does some slight restoration to cards, but cards that are like prior to 1990, I think he doesn't touch, because their coating is actually like on that cloth cardboard and not on the newer cardstock that you can apply different types of cleaners and stuff to that actually enhance the look of the card. So he actually sent me a video. He did one of my cards on a microscope and was showing me all the imperfections. And I pulled it from a pack this year. So it's a brand new card, 2026, and it's got imperfections. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. I don't have a Microsoft setup yet. I do still use the microfiber towel and the magnifying glass. But so for now, I don't think I'd replace, still doing some levels of your own legwork if you really want to save yourself trouble. But it is an interesting tool. I don't know if it quite like saves time, but I do appreciate the like second opinion in the event that like I miss something or it's saying it's less than an 8, then it's like, okay, if this is saying it's this low, like it's probably not gonna pass. Granted, most of these graders, maybe if they're really busy, they only have about 30 seconds to kind of review a card and then determine grade and move on, because they're just so busy. So perhaps they might miss stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I'm using it as that kind of support tool for now, but it's not replacing the legwork right now.
Right. And it's first generation. Who knows what's going to, be developed over the next year or two. So I'd say it's just in the infancy of being assistance to us in inspections. So,
yeah. So before we jump into some of or finalize with the final sales of January, I wanted to just kind of speak to 2 cents on something recently that popped up with a series of Reflections 2 boxes that showed up online for a ridiculously low price from a seller in Hong Kong. I saw that back when it like had first popped up, and I was like, no. But I see other people that are like, oh, we get the money back guarantee and all this stuff. Yes, but I have seen these things. I have a few rules of thumb generally, and I just kind of wanted to share them briefly. Maybe this is obvious to some, but not obvious to others. But when somebody's selling something from another country, I usually want to do a little bit more homework, particularly when it's from Asia, because there's a lot of like shisty stuff going on around there, especially with fakes and just like made up stuff. There's just like a lot of problems, especially like in Pokemon. There's all kinds of scams, stuff you've never even heard of. And I have been the victim of buying counterfeit booster box before, something that is in a sealed, it looks legit on the outside, and then you get to the packs and you're like, okay, they're sealed, like they look kind of right, but not quite. But then you open them and you're just like straight up duped. There's just garbage in there. I think they're capitalizing on, box collectors, people sealed collectors or something. I don't know. I don't know. But generally, abroad is definitely like a red flag. Stuff from like Pakistan, Asia, Vietnam, like Philippines, like
low to zero feedback.
Middle East and Asia is a big red flag for me. Low to zero feedback is also something I avoid. I don't really want to take that risk. You can see even in other collectibles, people will post the same item. Like there could be, let's say, booster boxes of something that's very available, right? And the cheapest one is being offered from somebody abroad who either has like some feedback, no feedback, or it's just shady. Like, it's just like, if it's too good to be true, it is.
It is.
Like, let's just put it that way, right? And the packaging and stuff usually is a little bit different. The foiling or the wrappers tend to be like a little bit different. They don't provide alternate pictures. They don't provide an additional description of the item.
Too many red flags. Yeah.
That's just something like, it's just not what you think it is, because you're not the only person to like come across it. And frankly, the counterfeit cards, it was kind of like humbling and frustrating because I did file a claim with eBay and they didn't get it back. They didn't refund me because I had kept it sealed for like 2 months or two and a half months or something. Brought it to a card show, opened it, and then realized right away there was something like wrong with the packs. I opened one of the packs and then like it was like garbage. Like I literally just tore the card in half, and I was like, this is BS. And then when I had filed the claim showing the pictures, this was fake, and they're like, it's past your purchase window, and they didn't think I had enough evidence or something, which is bogus, because like you have video and pictures and all this stuff, and it's like, why would you? Like if you purchase something like cards and you don't open it right away, which is not uncommon, like
right.
People generally don't open up a sealed something and then just immediately rip it as soon as they get it and then file a claim when they say it's fake, right? When it comes to like fake currency, fake cards, fake collectibles, it's really dicey when you're trying to file claims, like regardless of what it is. Even in the credit card companies, if you look in the fine print, there's a lot of things they don't like refund for, including like certain counterfeit things. So you have to be really careful with that stuff, and I have been burned with that before. But it's not as protected as like purchasing, like I don't know, most other things. I don't really know where to start, but generally a lot of things fall into that. But as collectibles and things with like alternating value, a lot of the, claims or coverage and stuff like that, it gets a little dicey. Credit card companies don't want to reimburse you for that kind of stuff. They don't want to cover it. You might get lucky, you might get early enough. And I'm hopeful that this is just like a mistake that's resolved very quickly and everybody gets their funds back, but it's not always the case, and it doesn't always end that happily. So that's just like my forewarning and the sniff test. Having when I was in the rental car industry, right, you have to qualify people to renting because you're giving them a $30,000 to $60,000 plus asset. It's not like renting a hotel room, right? You can leave that room, right? But a car you could drive off with or chop or take to another country or throw in a barge, right? So like you have to qualify people, and like from spending so much time with people, you start to get like this person's like, there's something not right here. Like, and generally when you're like sniff test, and it doesn't happen often, but when you see it, you like know like something's not right here, right? That should be that same like red flag, So for me, maybe it's a little more obvious, but those
Listen
are just
to your gut. Listen to your gut. Yep.
If you have any other different advice, JP, feel free to share. But definitely get a second opinion. That certainly can't hurt. And if it's if it's your money, right? So you have to protect it too, especially with these bigger purchases. I'm sad that it's entered the Star Wars CCG market. I was hoping that did not come in here, but hopefully this is something we all get resolved and that person doesn't want to do that with this community anymore.
Right. At least we'll be keyed up. Once we've seen it, we know what to look for. And I mean, you guys see the prices going up and up on every single year, every single month. It seems like there's a new record of sales. So we haven't really seen a massive decline at all in purchases and in value. So of course, it's going to be on the radar if somebody's going to want to hit it. The cards are, some of them are thousands of dollars. They're, who knows, maybe in the next few years, there may be a card that may hit tens of thousands of dollars. And especially knowing that, Star Wars 2027 is coming up, there's going to be a whole influx of people just reinvigorated back to being Star Wars fans in 2027 with the 50th anniversary. So get ready for that.
That's true. 50 years, God, that's wild to think about. Well, let's just call out some interesting sales over the past month of January. Some things that kind of caught my eye per se. We did have a tag sale. Where is this tag? Where am I looking at this? Tag 8 Darth Vader foil reflection sold for $168. That's kind of different. Obi-Wan Kenobi Unlimited Premiere PSA 10 for $125. So Unlimited Premiere still holding some value here. We had a bunch of different Luke Skywalker Premiere sales here. There were a lot of CGC sales. Some of them went for as low as 69 cents. But then you have one here like a CGC 9 Darth Vader for $200. So there are some variation in here. Of course, the card itself matters, but CGC Luke Skywalker Premiere 6.5 sold for $55. I thought that was interesting. Yoda Senior Council Member Foil Reflections 3 CGC 10 sold for $200.
Wow.
So we had a Darth Vader Japanese Premiere PSA 9 sold for $1,000. We had a Chewbacca Foil Reflections MGC 6 sell for $26.88 on a UK sale. So I don't even think I've seen that slab before. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We had a Luke Skywalker Unlimited Premiere PSA 10 sell for $135. Had a Luke Skywalker Premiere PSA 10 Black Border sell for $750.
Yep, that's big.
Yeah, we had a Boba Fett autographed Cloud City PSA 8 Auto 10 sold for $700. So that's an interesting sale. We had Darth Maul Young Apprentice Foil BGS 9 sell for $13.12, 79 cents. And a Corellian Corvette Foil PSA 6 sell for $1,034.99. So a few interesting things here. Let's see. Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight PSA 8 $255. So that card has remained very healthy in sales. Obi-Wan Kenobi Japanese foil PSA 7 $32. Yeah, so and then we're already kicking off with some sales through February and hopefully getting some more returns back. I'm hoping to have more stuff available for those that are collecting in Japanese Premiere. I am happy to see there's, I think, now 5 sets in the Japanese Premiere. It's not just me anymore.
That's right.
Now I can go back and forth with anybody else who's going through the set, because I'm inevitably getting duplicates. So, so if you are debating on going through that set, then hit me up and I'll keep you in mind for the first round of duplicates I come back with. We can make a trade happen. So, any final thoughts, JP, before we conclude here?
No, it's just been a very interesting year already. It's been an interesting month. Things are looking up. Groups looking good. Sales are looking good. Didn't the state of the market, wasn't there a quarterly video that was just shot this past month too, if we haven't talked about it? Was it in January? Or maybe end of year? Maybe it was the end of year.
It was the end of the year. It was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, check that out too. That's pretty telling. Those guys are awesome. So yeah, just keep on collecting, keep on doing your hobby, and keep your eye out and just watch out for all those scams.
Yeah, excited to see what people come up with. Hopefully people have Japanese foils to submit. So looking forward to another good contest. And yeah, feel free to reach out to the experts if you have any other questions on what's going on. All right.
All right.
See you later, JP.
See you later, Kyle.